Hello everyone, welcome back to coderinboots. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the topic how to pass variables at the runtime to a GitLab pipeline. So if in the previous example, so if you see the previous videos, so we have one example where to provision an EC2 instance using a GitLab pipeline. So if you have not watched the video, please watch the video. So this is a video which is a continuation of the previous video. So you can, I'll share the link in the description. You can refer to that video. So in that example, I have basically passed the configuration to provision the EC2 instance in the GitLab code itself with the values. Okay, so the configuration includes a set of parameters. So basically, so this is the app.conf that we have used in the previous program. Okay, so this is the simple program that we have used in the previous example to provision the EC2 instance, which uses Python EP02, and this was the configuration file that we have used, which has the region and the value of the region, AMI ID, the value of AMI ID, instance type, T2 micro, and the key pair name. So but the problem with this pipeline was, as this value was hard coded in the configuration file, it was a configuration file. So if you want to make any changes, let's say I wanted, instead of T2 micro, I wanted to basically provision T2 nano, okay, or maybe T2 medium. So in that case, I'll have to modify the configuration file manually and then run the pipeline. So this was the problem. So to make it in a better way, so in this example, I am going to show an improved version of the pipeline which uses the GitLab's variables and which uses some parameter replacement capability using envsubst command line to make it in a better way. Okay, so here in this video we are going to discuss about the following topics. We use GitLab pipeline, we use a runner with Docker executor, we use GitLab variables, we use AWS IAM. So I have explained this in the previous video how we are using it. Then the additional superstar that we are going to use is the envsubst command. Okay, so this is a command line, okay, which is a very powerful command line which can be used to replace the values of parameters. Okay, so this is very useful. I'll explain you how it works. The next is like the Python EP02, then AWS CLI. These are the topics that we are going to use here. So what we are going to do is, in this example, we are going to basically use a configuration file with a template. Okay, in the previous configuration file, if you see, the configuration values were directly given. So here, instead of the value, I am basically using a parameter. Okay, basically a variable, $region, $AMI ID, $instance type, and $key name. And what we are going to do is, we are going to dynamically change this value at the time of pipeline trigger. So at the time of pipeline trigger, this configuration file will get the values, and then this updated configuration file with values will be passed to the program to run this. So high level, so it will be something like, okay, so we have configuration file with variables, file with parameters. So we can call, like, it's a config template. Okay, so we made this program in a better way, and when the pipeline gets triggered, okay, so that time what will happen, we basically use apply values to replace parameters with values. We replace the parameters with values and generate actual config file. Then what we do, we basically provision, we pass this file to config to the program. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so now just to give a background, what technique we are using here. Okay, so we are using a command line utility which is called envsubst. Okay, so let's see how it works. So I'm going to download this command line utility. This is an EC2 instance, which is an Ubuntu instance. Okay, I'm going to download this utility here. So you can see it got downloaded. Okay, so there are multiple ways to get this package. Okay, so all operating system has something called get.txt. You can do apt get install get.txt. So that package internally has envsubst, but that package installation it's kind of a heavy installation because it will unnecessarily install basically as part of that installation it will as dependencies it will install several other packages and it may take some time. So instead of doing that, what we can do is this precompiled binary is available readily to download. Okay, so that is why I am using the readily available binary to do this activity. So this is going to be very quick. So chmod, I'm going u plus x envsubst. Okay, now what we will do is let's copy this config file. Okay, so let's copy our config file. We will see the magic. Let's create the copy this config file. Okay, app.conf. So this has region. Okay, so I'm just trying to replace the region around, the value of the region around. First we need to set the value of region as an environment variable here. I'm going to keep US East 1. Okay, now what we will do is env substitute. Okay, if you pass our config file to this app config, you will see the result. You can see in the passed value, it basically replaced the value of this guy because we have not set the variables for the remaining parameters. That is why other values are empty. But if you see this guy, I basically set the environment variable region as US East 1. So it got US East 1 and it got the value. So it got the template got applied here. So using this env substitute, so what we need is whatever you want to replace, you just give dollar that particular variable and you set that as an environment variable. You execute this command, you will basically get the value replaced with the variable. Okay, so this is the technique that we are going to apply in our pipeline. So let's go back to the pipeline and see how it is modified. This is the same pipeline as we have used in the previous example. So here one additional section that I have used is this is the pipeline variable. Okay, this just like stages, I have defined another section called variables and I have defined the variables one by one. Region, AMI ID, instance type, key name. Okay, and each has value and description. So value and description is basically the description of that particular variable and value is the default value. Okay, this is not a hard-coded thing. So let's say if I am not passing anything, this will be the default value. Okay, so I can override this value at the time of pipeline run. If you want to override, we can override. So if you keep this empty, what will happen? It will be empty. Whatever value we pass at the time of runtime, it will be picked up. Okay, but if you want to keep some default value, you populate some default value here. So like this, I have defined the variable to the pipeline, the variables to the pipeline. So this is an additional section that I have added compared to the previous pipeline. Then in the launch instance, what I have done is I have added a before script section. So here what I am doing, I am basically using Python image and here I am doing curl. I am installing curl command because I wanted to download this envsubst, right? So then I am downloading the envsubst binary, okay, giving execute privilege and then adding it to user local bin so that it will be, we can call the command as this directly. Okay, then what I am doing is I am just doing ls-all, going inside of the code app directory, pip install requirements.txt, same steps. Then additional step what we are doing here is these three things. One is I am basically substituting. So with this what will happen, I have defined all the variables here, right? So these variables as a default value or it will get an overridden value at the time of runtime. So these are the values, AMI ID, instance type, key name, everything. Okay, so then what will happen is this variables will be passed to this guy. Okay, this app config template, it will get applied, and I am writing the output to. So here if you see, when I did that, it basically printed the output, right? I wanted to save this to a file. So what I am doing, I am routing the output. I am routing the output to another file, appconf temp, and then I am renaming appconf temp to appconf. Okay, then just to see, like, I mean, what is the updated appconf, what I am doing is I am just doing cat app.conf. Okay, then I am basically doing python launch ec2, which is the same old program. So this will get the values from this config file, and it should ideally provision. In this way, what we will, the power that we are getting, or in this pipeline, is we don't have to worry about modifying the configuration file. What we need is, we just need to go to the pipelines, okay, and then run pipeline. So let me, okay, run pipeline. If you see in this, what we get is, we get an additional set of options. You see region, now we can see the options here, right? When we run, at the time of run, it is giving me options. I can basically provision, I can override this value, or by default also the values are getting populated. So let's say I wanted to basically provision T2 nano. Okay, I can provision T2 nano here. Okay, I can specify T2 nano, then EOS is to 1, everything I can give, and then run pipeline. Okay, let's see how it runs. So let me trigger the launch instance. I am expecting a nano instance. Okay, the default value was T2 micro nano. In this way, we can control the parameters. So it is pulling the Python Docker image. It is installing the envsubst installed. It is installing the requirements.txt. Now you see, this is the updated config file. You see, now the config file got values. US is to 1, AMI ID, and this is my updated value, overridden value T2 nano. Okay, so then GitLab runner, everything, it got the values. Okay, and it provisioned the instance. Okay, now you see, this is the response after provisioning. Now let's refresh here. So I had already one runner machine running, and now you see, this is the second machine. You see initializing T2 nano. So this is the new machine that got provisioned as part of this pipeline. Okay, in this way, my pipeline became more powerful. I don't have to give any edit option. I just need to give, like, I mean, the pipeline execute option to someone. They can just control from there, and the remaining configurations, everything I can manage inside the code itself. Okay, so I hope this example is useful for you. Okay, you can use this technique not just for this envsubst technique can be used in several other cases, like in case of SQL queries, in case of like any programs. Okay, if you want to replace anything, you can use this approach. I hope this video is useful. So please subscribe to this channel if you want to watch more interesting videos like this. Okay, so if you have any questions or queries or feedbacks, please comment below this video. I'll respond back. Thank you very much for watching this video.